Hello. Hi. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hi, it's me. It's me. I'm here again. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Starsmadas, and this is an episode of Starsmadas Shelf, and we are going to be reviewing the Vulcan faction pack. It's here! So, I've got photos of all the cards I took. I haven't got photos of the ships per se, but I'll give them a quick once-over just to begin. Actually, I'll talk about the models when I talk about the cards. How about that? That sounds good. So first up, we have the Tucumbra. Actually, for fun, I thought, why not let's just mispronounce all these cards. So, here we have the Tucumbra. Actually, I think I just pronounced that one correctly. Uh, yeah. So that's a bit funky. Ugh. Windows Defender. Trying to give me messages. You know how it is. Let's tilt the camera down a bit. There we go. So, what was that? Okay, so the USS Tucumbra, the USS to Hakuma Manatara, the USS Tahumuna, the USS Tahuma. All Vulcan captains, admirals, and crew upgrades equipped to the ship cost -1 SP. First off, since if you've seen the Vulcan faction pack, Vulcan faction video, the faction dive video that I made with Shipyard, I should say. The Vulcan is a sub-faction. Vulcans are sub-factions. And as such, a lot of their stuff tends to be... it doesn't have some of the newer price ranges. So a lot of their older stuff is a little overpriced, I would say. So it's good to see a card designed to fix that issue. Oh! I need to address my rating system. So I use a rating system here, which is 1 to 7, but actually it's 0 to 7 because there is a 0 rank, which is given out very rarely to very bad behaved ships and cards. So, the way it works is a 1 is a bad card, 2 is an okay card, 3 is a good card, 4 is a good card that I personally would play, 5 is a great card, 6 is a great card that I would personally play, and 7 is an absolutely hands-down amazing card. You should probably get it. 0 is a card that is actually detrimental to use. So, Tucumbra. The first ability right there is the whole cost discount thing, right? And it's a twofold ability, so that's another great thing. The second ability is placing it whenever you take a scan action, you gain an additional. Now, the Excelsior had a similar ability, which was you get a free scan if you, I think, are not within range 1 of any enemies. And I feel like the Vulcans used to have another ship that had a similar scan power, but I just can't seem to find it here. But, scans used to be really good until Worf clarified that you can only use a scan to activate one card. Not one of each class. So, you can use the scan to activate your ship's ability, you can use the scan to activate your captain, or your admiral, or your crew, or your tech, or your weapon, or your blah blah blah, whatever it's called. Or your... I can't remember the word. Weapon, tech, elite talent, question mark. One of those. Either way. So you can't activate one of each now. You just have to activate one. So scans are a little less powerful than they used to be, because now we actually know what the rules are. Let's turn off my fan for now. But that being said, scans are good, especially if you're fighting cloaked vessels, right? Because at the end of the day, a scan is, at its core level, the ability to negate 1 defense dice. There we go. All right. So I like this ship. I like its loadout. It's a crew weapon tech 22 points. But before I can give it a rating, I think I need to address the Nebula class as a whole, being the generic here. The generic is 19 points, not as good as a tech loadout. Now these ships have a 490 0 rear arc. So I really love Nebula class ships. The generics I would consider I would say for being 19 points, they're one of the best ships for 19 points, frankly, in my opinion. Like, I mean, because a lot of the ships have yet to see cost reductions, and until the what's it called, the Federation fact officially comes out, then we'll still be playing with these point values. Probably, it depends on your room. But oh, sorry, I'm really tired. For a long time, the 19-point Nebula has been one of my favorite cheap Federation ships because of how it's, in my opinion, the strongest Federation ship that has received a actually like cheap cost reduction. Because to me the Constitution class just isn't, its cost reduction isn't good enough for what it is. It just can't compete with the Burrell's cost reduction, in my opinion, the Constitution. Because it's 16 points, it's 3 more points, and it just doesn't feel worth it compared to a Burrell. But this ship, I would run a swarm of these against the swarm of Burrells if I had to pick one Federation ship to swarm against Burrells, at least under the current cost pricing. Once the Federation pack drops, then all those old pricings officially get put into use. That's going to change things. Okay, so I honestly would say that for a generic ship, the Nebula class is a great ship I would use. So that would fall into a 6 out of 7. Same for the USS Tacambra. It has an even better, a really lovable set of slots right there. 2 tech, a weapon, crew, and its dual faction Federation. Love that. Now, some of you are like, why bother making it Federation? Well, you see, I sometimes play with a group which has very strict faction penalty rules. They use their own homebrew faction pure rules. And they often say things like, no, you can't put Vulcans on Federation ships. Which kind of defeats the point of making them a sub-faction. But this then lets me run a Nebula class while flying Vulcans in their group, and nobody can say no. That's the gist. So the Tacambra, woo! Depending on how good this whole pack is, this might eventually become a 7 for me. If this pack is like absolutely great, because I gotta say, it's gonna be kind of hard to rate these because this pack is going to be about synergy. And I don't know if I've been able to wrap my head around just how much synergy there is in this pack. Whew! So up next we have the USS Intrepid. So let's just look at, and see, yeah, this is a good example. I have a Constitution, I was talking about that. 3-1-4-2. Weapon, crew, standard Fed action bar, 16 points. I really only see running Constitutions like this as viable if you're trying to run a shuttle fleet or a... Oh, oops, I almost forgot to change the picture. If you're running either a shuttle fleet or you are running a, what's the word? Fighter squadron fleet. So they're good at cheap aircraft carriers. Or if you're looking for a cheap capital ship, they work. They're also nice if you're trying to play the game on a smaller scale, like using the smaller sized models, because the big ones, the size changes maybe annoy you. But I would put Constitutions as just in general, as a good ship that I would play. So that's a 4, is it? Yeah, 4 out of 7. So the USS Intrepid has got to impress me if it wants to uh, sell itself to me. So first off, it wins a point for me because it is a dual faction, so it means I can play it in that group as a Vulcan ship and they won't get upset. It's a 3-1-4-3. Um, there are a bunch of cards in this game that are made for Constitution class only, and that was because the game has tried in the past to make the Constitution class better, and they kind of dropped the ball in quite a few areas. Some of those Constitution class only cards were very old, so they've been trying since basically the beginning of the game to make the Constitution class better and failing. And the downside is those upgrades that are supposed to be Constitution only. Really, there's a bunch of generic upgrades you can throw on any ship that are now better than those. And the Calvin Timeline Faction Pack had a great opportunity to make some Constitution class only upgrades, but they locked them to the Calvin Timeline Constitution class only, so they lost out on those. So here we are, the USS Intrepid, 20 points. Tech, weapon, crew. I would have probably liked to see another tech in there, honestly, so it would have been tech, weapon, 1 crew. That would have been cool. But Constitutions were, big ships. So, free action, place a auxiliary power token beside your ship and target a friendly ship within range of 1 to 2. Oh. And place a scan token and an evasive token beside that ship and the target ship. Wait, beside this ship and the target ship. So that right there is a support ability. I love support abilities. And I've seen somebody play this ship, and my gosh, this might not look that good, but it's amazing. It is absolutely fantastic because you can, if you put a lower skill captain on this, right? Then the friendly ship can just pull a green move on its turn and get rid of that ox, and then it gets to perform its actions. And even if it didn't get to perform any actions, it got 2 tokens, which is a great action on its own. So this is actually a 7 for me. Great ship, and I'd play. On to the Kashakarakachaka. I forgot, I was trying to do a bit where I mispronounced all these. So the Kashka, the Katana, the Kirkshana. The Kirkshana. Yes, welcome to the Kirkshana. During the modify attack dice step, if they're... Oh, sorry, I should talk about the Kiers. I gotta talk about the generic first, so you can get a better idea of why I'm giving the ship a good rating. Because the ship can have a great ability and be a bad ship, and that will bring its points down, Alright, so it's a 3-1-5-3. It has a 180 arc with a... I think it has a 90 arc? Yeah, it has a 90 arc, I think, because these ships come with rear-firing weapons. It's 19 points. And I believe that is the price of an Excelsior now, thanks to Alliance. And that is also the price of a Nebula. So, can this compete with a Nebula? Let's see, a Nebula is 4-1-4-3. This is 3-1-5-3. Okay, so it does have a higher hull than a Nebula. And it has a rear firing arc. So, but the Nebula has an extra slot. So you know what? I'll accept 19 SP as a good point value for the Vulcan Dakir. The Vulcan Daka year. The Vulcan Daka year. Because the Vulcan Daka year is, yes, it's missing. It's reallocated one of its points, and it swapped one of its slots for a rear firing arc, which is fair. And it's got one of each. I like it when a ship has one of each as opposed to like 2, and it's missing one. I'm looking at you, Saber class. Alright, so the Vulcan Dakir. If they're 19 points now, that's pretty good. Honestly, though, I just don't like how they look, which is funny because I own, technically now, including the unopened ones, because I bought some ships in bulk. Like, they had big bundles for sale, dirt cheap, so I bought a bunch of them. I technically own 9 Dakir class ships. I don't even like to fly them. I actually like flying the Zindi aquatic ship over the Vulcan Dakir. But here we go, Vulcan Dakir. I think the three attack is what holds it back to me. I think with a 4 attack, I'd probably play it more. And this is weird because it's coming from me, who used to really love tier 3 ships like this. But I've been playing in a highly competitive group, which is funny because they don't see themselves as highly competitive, but compared to me, they're highly competitive. And like, I've learned to really appreciate the powerful attack dice, especially after playing in Alliance and having the Dread Persephone lose so terribly, which is funny because I'm about to play that same mission and I've just unlocked the the Defiant class ship, and I'm really tempted to fly the Dread Persephone again on the same mission. All right. So what would I rate this? I would rate this as a 4, a good ship I would fly. It's kind of like the Excelsior. I mean, kind of like the Constitution. If I'm flying Vulcan, I'm flying them, but I don't really feel like there's much of a draw to them. I'd fly them probably because I have so many of them. That's my answer, I think. I have so many of them that I would need to use them. Alright, on to the Kashir. Sorry, the Kirk. I mean, it's pronounced the Kur Shahara, but I want to call it the Kirk Shikana. Like the katana, the Kirk Shana? Yeah, the Kirk Shana. The Kirk Shana's ability is when attacking during the modified attack dice step, if there's a scan token beside your ship, convert up to 2 battle stations into a hit each. Now, is this a mouse? Is there a mouse on my face? I think there's a mouse on my face. Let me just move that out of the way. Hi, little mouse. Hi, what are you doing? Hey, get out of here. Anyway. I'm confused. I am so confused. There's like a mouse. Look at this thing. What are you doing here? Okay, I don't know how to get rid of that. I don't know what's up with that mouse. Can you kindly go away? Anyway, stop going ADHD. Right, so, okay. I have a thing where I say if you roll 2 or less attack dice and you have the choice between battle stations, target lock, and an extra attack die, jump for an extra attack die. If you roll 3 attack dice, then it's up to your choice whether you want the battle stations or target lock. If you roll 4 attack dice or more, go for battle stations. But honestly, that's just my kind of whiffy opinion. You can kind of do whatever you want when it comes to those things. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna actually turn to look at the cards here. Oh no! What am I doing? Ah! Oh no! What am I doing? Oh no! Why is this so hard? What is going on? No! Oh no! Ah! Why is this so hard? Oh, okay, I should have been using the other tool. Okay, alright. Sorry about that. Lower a bit to normal. Oh no, that's not doing it either. Okay, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna stay here. Sorry about that. Technicality difficulties. Alright, so. Oh! Okay, alright, so yes. The Kashak, the Kirk Shikana. There we go. Sure, this works. Lower a bit. Lower. Yeah, okay. So the Kirk Shikana. Right. So, this named ability, if you are rolling 3 attack dice, you, on a bad roll, might get, I'd say a good average roll for a 3 attack dice ship, unfortunately, is 1 hit, 1 battle stations, 1 blank. I've got that a lot. In fact, I felt like that's what I was rolling all the time when I was rolling the flying the Dread Persephone. So if the Dread Persephone had had ability to convert 2 battle stations to a hit, that would have been amazing. So yeah, I'm gonna say that this, if I have to fly a 3 attack dice ship, this is probably the 3 attack dice ship I want to fly every time. So I'm putting this as a great ship I would fly. So that is a 6. Moving on, we have another ship here. We have another generic and a named Dakir. This is the Vishar, or as I will call it, the Visor. Oh, I think this is the wrong photo. This is a blur. Nope. How about this one? Does this look better? It's just loading. No, that doesn't look that good. Let's try. Is there one more? Nope. Okay, we'll go back. We'll go back to the one with the bright splotch. Okay, I'll just quickly read this one off. Combat phase. Spend a scan token beside this ship. The next attack the ship makes with its primary weapon in this game round ignores the ship's defending shields. Ignores the defending ship's shields, sorry. Oh shoot, this is also a great one. Again, I think the thing that makes this ship balanced is the fact that it's a 3 attack dice ship. So you would have to, let me think. Using the right upgrades, you could boost this up to a 6 attack dice ship that could punch through enemy shields. Throw this with the right perfect quality captain, and he comes with the Federation pack. But match this with the right perfect quality captain, and you're punching 6 dice through a shield. And yeah, basically, you got free Chronoton torpedoes, guys. You basically got Chronoton torpedoes. And I gotta say, you might be thinking, well, if you're using Worf from the Federation Boldly Go pack, let me just quickly explain what he does. So Worf from the Federation Boldly Go pack kind of breaks the game. Well, he doesn't break the game. Essentially, he is a much needed shake-up to the game's meta that will overhaul and change how people play the game. And a lot of people don't like that. I personally, being someone who goes into a game and isn't really well versed on the current meta, gets beaten up all the time whenever I play against other players because they know how to play it so much better than me in terms of the current meta. Knowing that the whole meta is just going to shift and seeing them kind of panic a bit kind of makes me feel a little bit better about how I'm going to be playing, because it means everyone's going to be back to the beginning, essentially. They're all going to have to relearn how to fight each other. Yeah, it's not going to be about trying to think of the best combo to get perfect quality, because everyone's going to be able to get perfect quality now, thanks to Worf and Battle Hardened. Anyway, so basically, it's possible now to make it so a ship never misses when it rolls its dice. However, that's really only for 1, maybe 2 ships. And there are some other things you can do to get some more on other ships, but those go back to the older combos that people are currently using. Anyway, my point is you could probably build the Vishar, or the Visor, to fire through enemy shields, dealing 6 points of damage. So I'm going to have to, unfortunately, give this ship a 7, an amazing card, because I could use this ship to build one-shot builds, and I love one-shot builds. They're hilarious. However, I prefer one-shot builds that take effort. I was working on I like effort-based one-shot builds, but this ship, a 180 arc, yeah, that's gonna be crazy. But the good news about this is you and your gaming group don't need to choose to run this ship as completely broken. You can run this as a 3 attack dice ship. You don't have to put on those upgrades that will boost you up to a 6 attack dice ship. If you choose to run it, it's like the Borg, right? When the Borg first came out, right, people were like getting real sour about it because it was all like, oh shoot, you're just gonna win now, right? Or at least that's kind of the impression I got from True Fight Silverwing in one of his reviews when he's talking about the scout cubes. He's all like, you don't need to feel guilty about running a scout cube because people actually have a chance of killing it, you know? Because he's like, Anyway, what I'm saying is the Visher, yes, you can break it and make it just blow your enemies to smithereens, but you don't need to break it. And if you're a nice, respectable player, you can choose not to break it. So, I ask you this, unless you're playing against some super competitive person who's always trying to win using the best and strongest combos, try not to break the Visher. Try to be gentle on the other players. Thank you. Alright, moving on to our Captianos. Captains, here we have Maroc, or as I will call him, Morocco. Here we have Morocco. And this is a card. Oh boy, was I waiting for this card. Because when I've heard there's going to be a Vulcan faction pack, I was all like, thank you. Because the best type of missions to do with the Vulcans are Vulcans versus Andorians. And unfortunately, since the independent faction pack, the Andorians became expert Vulcan slayers. And the Vulcans really didn't have anything. I tried to do a couple Vulcan versus Andorian battles of my own. Andorians mopped the floor with the Vulcans. So I was like, the Vulcan faction pack has to have anti-Andorian cards. Here you go. You can tell for sure this was made to combat the Andorians. When attacking, first off, 7 points. It appears that the Vulcans aren't the most skilled captains, but they're higher than most sub-factions, I would say. During the modify attack dice step, if there is a scan token beside your ship, convert 1 blank into 1 hit. If the defending ship has a independent captain equipped to it, convert 1 blank into 1 crit instead. Okay. So, again, I kind of brought this up with the Tacumbra, but I think I rabbit trailed and lost track of what I was saying. But this pack is about synergy. So anything that says give you a scan token in this pack is amazing, because most of the cards in this pack revolve around spending scan tokens. Now, there was a couple things I think I remember pointing out with the shipyard that the Vulcans do really well, which is doing things with scan tokens, attacking at long range, and although that wasn't really that big of a thing, but they do, I think, have 2 sniping ships. Yeah, so attacking at long range, doing things with scan tokens, and Ox Mitigation, which is they have at least 2 cards, I think more, that help your ship out if it's on auxiliary power. So I expected to see Ox Mitigation, Anti-Andorian, and Scan Token powers in this. So this is our first Anti-Andorian card. I think this pack has a lot of Scan Token cards. I think it has maybe 1 Ox card in it, sadly, but we'll see. Morocco. What would I rent him? I mean, okay, picture it this way, right? You remember I said for a good average roll on a 3-dice ship is a hit, a miss, and a battle stations. If you put him on the Kirkshana, put him on the Kirkshana from before, or the Kurshara, as it's supposed to be pronounced, I think. The Kirkshana is going to convert your battle stations for you, and he will convert a blank for you. You will probably always be hitting with the Kirkshara if you fly him, I would say. You'd probably hit him quite a bit at least. So, yeah, I'm going to give him a... And the thing, too, is he works on other ships. Downside, though, is he only works against independent. Good side is he doesn't actually spend his thing. So I think the fact that he only works when fighting independent holds him back from being a great card. So I'm going to say he's a good card that I would use. But I'm happy about it. It's not like the generic Constitution and the generic Dakir, where I'm not too happy about the idea of using them all the time, but I would use them. Like, I would reluctantly use them. Maroc, I would really positively use Maroc. So He's a good card, and I would use him. Actually, you know what? He is the anti-Andorian Vulcan card we've been waiting for. And I think... I want to give him a great card that I would use. I want to give him a 6 out of 7. But I think I'm going to have to settle with a 4 out of 7. Because... Oh, wait, no. I take that back. I just looked at it again. Okay, sorry. Herp derp, herp derpy derp, herp derp derpy derp derp. I thought his ability was saying his ability only worked if you're fighting independent. I was all like, if it was his ability always worked, but it worked better against independent, I would give him a 6 out of 7. But it does. That's what it says. I just didn't read it right. So against normal ships, he converts a blank into a hit, which is great. Which I would give him if that was just his ability. I'm tired. He's a 6 out of 7, okay? Alright, moving on to Solok. This is the bowling trophy guy. Why did I call him the bowling trophy guy? By bowling trophy guy, what I mean is he is... Solok is the baseball Vulcan. Baseball Vulcan. There we go. Here's the baseball Vulcan. We got our baseball Vulcan here. He's a 7. Actually, you know what I'm going to do right now? I have in my hands my current collection of Vulcan cards from opened expansions, not including this layout, because I put that back in the box for some reason. I'm going to take a look at his old version, right? So this is his new version. His new version is Solek, range 1 to 2. He's a 7 skill, elite talent, dual faction for 4 points. His old version is 6 only. Still has an elite talent, still 4 points, but it's Vulcan only. Alright, so let's see what the differences are. The new one, perform action step. When this ship performs a scan action, target an opposing ship with a face-down maneuver dial. Look at the target ship's maneuver dial and perform a sensor echo action as a free action using the 1 maneuver template, even if this ship is not cloaked. You know what this makes me feel like? This makes me feel like Solek is sort of our anti-Romulan Vulcan card. He's got that Romulan vibe to him because of the whole sensor echo. But in actuality, I feel like he's there to make up for the fact that the Tacumbra has a 90 arc, whereas literally every Vulcan ship in the game has a 180 arc. So with the Tacumbra, with him on the Tacumbra, you can now shift the Tacumbra sideways to get your targets in arc and get the Tacumbra out of arc. So I feel like he's a good match for the Tacumbra, his ship. Now let's look at the old one. The old one was, you may perform a evade or a scan action as a free action this round. If you do so, place an auxiliary power token beside your ship. You know what that feels like? That feels like the old one was made for the Intrepid. Ah! And if I remember correctly, the Intrepid was a sniping ship. Not like in lore, but I mean like in this game, the Intrepid was built around sniping. Why are you like this? Okay, alright, where were we? We're back, hello. And I really liked him. I really like Solek. I really like Solek. I don't play him all the time because to me he feels like we need the DS9 Vulcan era cards. But now we do. So I'll probably be playing the old Solek more. But the new Solek is also really, really cool. He's a spy card. I love spy cards. I mean, I don't play them often, but I love them. There we go. I love spy cards. So you know what I'm going to give him? So he's not only just a spy card, but he's a maneuver card. He's going to be a 6 to me. He's going to be a great card, and I would play him. Also dual faction, which I appreciate. Downside is he's a... No, no real downside. I just don't think he's level 7 amazing. Maybe he will be over time. Now, moving on to Paul. Captain to Paul. So to me, this feels like sort of when she was in charge of things and like times when, what's his face? Archer got knocked out of command. Alright, so Captain to Paul. Combat phase. Choose either evade tokens or battle station tokens. You may spend scan tokens beside the ship as if they were the chosen token this combat phase. Not going to talk about her too much, just going to say she's a 7. Absolutely amazing. To pow or to punt or kapow, we'll say. Oh, I forgot to change the picture again. This is the first time I've tried streaming this way. Normally I do these things all in post. Alright, to pow. End phase, if this ship has a scan token beside it, replace one scan token with an evade token and a battle stations token. The scan token and the battle stations token gained from this effect do not get removed this end phase. I don't think I should have to explain how great of an ability that is. That's just a great ability. I think she's also a 7, guys. And they go so well together. Basically, if you got any of those rinky-dinky tiny science vessels or lame ships that only give you scan actions for free, throw these on them. Now suddenly they're scary ships. Now we're moving on to our crew. So let's see here. We've got Chulak, or as I'll call him here, Chulak from Stargate. Wasn't that the planet that the Jaffa came from? Free action. Place 3 scan tokens beside the ship. End phase. If you use Chulak, it's free action. You must discard 1 crew upgrade to the ship. You know what? Okay, so I'm a bit of a cheese player. I like unorthodox, really weird builds that come up with really dumb things. Okay, so, alright. Now, I'm going to finish this thought before I make another thought. What? I know, right? I'm going to actually finish the thought. Okay. Put this on a ship. Maybe even the ISS Enterprise, right? Where you can... No, not that one, but put them on a ship where you have a combo where you discard your crew during the combat phase. And have him be the only crew. Or maybe one of those mirror universe ones that let you like discard up to, let's say, 3 crew to get 3 attack. 3 extra attack dice, right? So use him, then use, I don't know, T'Pol to get battle stations. Or evades, yeah. Discard, trigger his ability, use T'Pol to get 3 evades out of him, and then use another combative card which lets you discard crew members in order to gain attack dice. Discard him, or all your crew members, right? And then when it comes to the end phase, it's all like, what you gonna do? I can't discard him. Oh, wait, even better. I just thought of something even better, right? So let's say you use his ability, right? As an action. Then you use another ability to discard him and gain something from that, like discard a crew in order to gain attack dice, right? Or I think there's one that lets you discard upgrades in order to fly faster. Like there's a Borg ship that does that. Since he is discarded, his end phase ability never comes into power. If he was simply a discard to get 3 scan tokens, or discard another card to get 3 scan tokens, that would be bad. But because there is a delay before that effect comes in, you can discard him before that delay triggers. Also, he's better because there's a card in this pack which synergizes him, which lets you get discarded cards back. So, just going to say right now, he is a 5, a good card. Not sure if I would play him because I'm not a fan of discards. But he's definitely a good card. Especially that timing thing, where you can use another ability to discard him, and then you no longer have to worry about his discard rule. So basically, you get 2 powers out of him. You get the +1 for discarding him, if that's a power you choose, and you get his name power. I love being able to sneaky like that. See, yeah. Anyway, moving on. We got Vorik, or as I will call him, Yorick. Alas, poor Yorick. I was hoping I had a higher quality picture of him. Alas, poor Vorik. I knew him well. He is one of my favorite characters from Voyager. Just because he's like a Vulcan who's named and appears in a couple episodes, like he's like a side character, or maybe even a side character. But he's a reoccurring character enough that he has a place on the show. Alright, Vorik. When defending, +3 time tokens onto this card. Remove a target lock or a battle stations from an attacking ship. Place a scan token beside your ship. Okay. Under the new powerful cards, if this was an old card, that would be cool, right? As a new card, I would say he would need to be 2 time tokens. However, he gives you a scan token. So he's 2 powers for the price of 1. And I say that's worth it. You know, if it was 2 time tokens to remove a battle stations to target lock, I would have been like, that's an okay ability. If it was 2 time tokens to get a scan, I'll be all like, that's an okay ability. But combining them both and making 3 time tokens, that is a fair ability. So he's actually one I would play. So he's a good card that I would play. So I would make him a 4. And I think I made a mistake before by saying Chulak was a 5. 5 is a great card that I wouldn't necessarily play. Chulak was supposed to be a good card, so he's a 3. Vorik is a good card that I would play, so he is a 4. Alright. Now we've got I was waiting for the image to change. Oh, that lagged a lot longer than I thought it would have. Way longer than I thought it would have. Place the Stone of Gaul tech upgrade face down under T'Pol for 0 SP. So let's just take a quick look at the Stone of Gaul. Stone of Gaul. How much is that? Stone of Gaul is 3 points. So you are getting a 3-point discount on that card. That's if she's worth it. She might just be really a 1-point discard and a power. Because she's worth 2 SP. Execute maneuver step. After this ship moves to discard this card and target an opposing ship. Bum, bum, bum. Discard 1 check equipped to the target ship. Flip the Stone of Gaul upgrade under top. Power faces up and equipped to the ship, ignoring restrictions. Assuming that... you know what? Let's just imagine, hypothetically, that the Stone of Gaul upgrade does absolutely nothing and is a piece of junk. What is she worth? She is a 1/2 discard for 2 points that discards a tech upgrade. There are some really nasty tech upgrades to this game. I'm thinking things like the shield upgrades that make your ships, like, invulnerable. Like, there's the Dominion one, which makes it so enemies roll -2. There's the Borg one that makes it so it just cancels hits. There's the Federation one now, which gives you 2 extra shields. Yeah, you know what? She's a good card and I'd play her, even if I wasn't running the Stone of Gaul. So I'm going to actually rate her without the Stone of Gaul. I'm going to say she's a good card, and I'd play her. So that's a 4. When we get to the Stone of Gaul, maybe we'll reassess her points. The Live Long and Prosper upgrade is next. There's a full 2 episodes of the Battle Stations podcast, a podcast that I was really fond of, that is about this card, and that episode is about a thing I brought up about this card. So, on the surface, this card, if you don't know much about these tokens, looks really great, and then if you know a few things about this card, it looks really lame, and then if you know a few things more about this card, it's absolutely devastatingly good. So it's quite a whiplash. All right. Vulcan Captain, Vulcan only ship. That's fine. That's pretty much how all these Vulcan ones go. Late talents. Range 1 to 2. Discard this card. It's not an action. Happens at the beginning of the activation phase. And target an opposing ship. Roll 4 dice. Oh, sorry. I thought this was logic is the beginning of wisdom. No, sorry. That was a different upgrade I was talking about, which is absolutely crazy. Sorry, this is a different card. Logic is live long and prosper. Discard. If you roll 4 defense dice, if you roll at least 3, the target ship and this ship cannot be attacked this round. 3 SP for a discard that might not actually work. This would be worth it if you rolled at least 1 defense dice, then you get it. Or if you roll 3 defense dice and get it. No, sorry. Rolling 4 attack dice and having to actually get 3 evades is not easy, especially if you can't modify it. I mean, throw Julian Bashir on and maybe you can modify it. Here's the thing. If it was saying I had to get 3 defense rolls perfectly, so 3 defense out of 4 dice, not for 3 SP, dude. If it said that it triggered on 1 out of 4, yeah. If it said it triggered on 2 out of 4, okay, I can see it being 3 SP. If it said you have to get 3 in order to trigger the ability, but if you don't, then they roll 1 less attack dice at you, or you roll 1 more green. Sure. You know what? I'll take it. As is, nah. I like the fact that it's not a 5-point cancellation, but the fact that it's a mathematically you're not going to make this roll. No. I'm going to say he's a bad card. He's a 1 out of 7. I might run him for the novelty of it, but no. Now we're moving on to the good one. Logic is the beginning of wisdom. Range 1 to 2. You can just, for free, place 1 of your time tokens, or a continuous effect token, or a permanent effect token from this ship, or a card equipped to this ship on the target ship, or a card equipped to the target ship of the same type. So, let's say, hypothetically, you very recently came up with a USS Voyager build which can destroy a Borg cube in 1 shot in 1 round with no additional prep. Hypothetically. So if you were to fly up to literally any Borg cube in the game, whether it was a generic or 112, which is not literally any ship in the game, sorry. If you had the 112 or the generic, you could blow that ship up in 1 shot. But you couldn't destroy the Borg cube with sphere port because you can't turn off that ship's shields, right? All these crazy Borg destruction builds rely on turning off Borg shields, typically. But you can't turn off the shields on that Borg cube, right? Well, with this card, you could transfer 1 time token onto the Borg cube with sphere port. And now you can lower its shields. That alone would make this ship a great card that I would play. Or at least a great ship, because I don't fight that Borg cube, so there's no real point in me using that. But the ability to just for 1 round turn off a ship's named ability is absolutely amazing. But what really gets fun and makes this a 7 in my book is when this was first presented to the community was like, oh, does this mean we can move any reminder token? And people were like, well, no, only reminder tokens with purple borders and green borders can be moved. And people were talking about it and were like, well, that's pretty lame. That's a useless thing. do those tokens even exist? And so one person was saying, Ella was saying that permanent effects tokens don't even exist in the game, only in theory, which is the one with the purple border. And I piped up and said, well, no, there is a permanent effect token. There's the warp core ejection system from the, I think it was the Talvath, which is a warp. It's a card which protects your ship from warp core breaches, but it makes it so your ship can't move faster than one. And so it's like, a protection card with a major disadvantage. But the the thing is you can just trigger that ability and then use this card to give it off to someone else. And if you've got some sort of method of reusing that card again and again and again, and I'm sure there is some ways to do that. In fact, I think there is. Or at least ways to get it again. I think the Battle Stations podcast came up with a way to trigger give out warp core breach. Sorry, warp core ejection systems token to up to, I think, 4 times. Oh boy, it's really cool. Basically, with this card, you can use some very esoteric old cards to completely trash somebody's movement. In fact, there's another build that was proposed by the Battle Stations podcast, run by Ella, which had it so you could actually either just remote control enemy ships or just make them stop flying. Yeah. So I've heard a lot of talk in the community lately about these new packs being so good that they make the old cards obsolete. I fully disagree. And see, the idea about something being OP is, it's super strong and great. But if all the new cards are OP, then in my eyes, it's actually just a new meta for the game. The older cards are weaker, yes. But the new cards aren't OP when you compare them with the other packs. The Vulcan pack versus the Cardassian pack, I watched a video between that. I thought the Cardassian pack was utterly broken. But no. The Vulcan pack actually beat the Cardassian pack in the battle. And the fact that they're dropping all these new packs sort of simultaneously, let's include the Borg pack in those too. This is just the new game. They're all stronger now. We got to deal with that. But to say that these cards are obsoleting the old cards is garbage, because Warp Core Ejection System was a terrible card. Well, maybe not terrible, but it wasn't great. I think it was highly overpriced, highly situational, and only could go on like a few ships. I'm just going to pull it out right now to address how these new packs, these new expansion packs, are making old cards really good, which is the exact opposite of obsolescence. It's like, imagine if Apple released a new phone that made the old phones even better, right? That wouldn't be called obsolescence, would it? But no, they make new phones and upgrades that make the old phones worse. Okay, so here we go. Let's find this upgrade. I'm so happy I actually found this combo. It's like I'm adding to the community. Yay. Where is it? Self-destruct, graviton, distress signal, interface, maneuvering, backup, polarize, multi-spectral, distress signal, self-destruct, cloaked mines, warp core ejection system. Alright. Action. Discard this card to repair 1 damage to your hull and flip any warp core breach critical damage cards assigned to your ship face down. For the rest of the game, you cannot perform maneuvers with a speed greater than 1. You cannot receive a warp core breach critical damage card. If you do, immediately flip this card face down and treat it as normal damage. Yeah. So that was a 4. So normal warp core breaches, you can just, as an action, flip the card over, treat it as a regular damage, and fly at speed 1. For 4 SP, this simply repairs 1 hull to your ship and does that. And it's also an action. And it protects you from further warp core breaches. Not that great of a power. Now, it is one of the most terrifying cards in the game when paired with logic is the beginning of wisdom. And I think that is beautiful. And I'm also super happy that I was the one who found that combo. And brought it forward to the collective group. And I'm super happy that the Battle Stations podcast did a whole video on it. That was super cool too, because it showed me that it was even scarier than I thought initially. But yeah, so that is cool. Well, sort of. I believed it's I still think it's possible to dish it out every single turn, but I just haven't quite worked out all the details in that. I'm thinking it's going to involve something with Wayoon and biometric gel or something. Anyway, moving onward from that beautiful card, we've got Aft Particle Beam. So this is a 2 SP back particle beam, and I'm going to actually drop where this weapon comes from. So this weapon is an improved version of, you guessed it, Aft Particle Beam from the Dakir. In fact, it has almost the same picture. So, the old one was Aft Particle Beam, 1 SP. Why has the pictures gone? There we go. It's back. Got our pictures. Aft Particle Beam initially was a 3 attack dice, range 1 to 3. Disable this card. You may only fire out a rear arc for 1 SP. I like 1 SP weapons. You don't see enough of them. How many builds do I have where I have extra weapon slots and 1 SP left? Right? Whatever. Anyway, this is a slight improvement. It's 2 SP. It gives you an extra dice. That alone is not great, but I can see why they would do that. But they've made it 2 time tokens instead. You can use this once every turn. It's not even 1 per ship. So if you equip 2 of these to your ship, you'd have to buy 2 of these packs, sadly. But if you had 2 of these cards equipped to your ship, then you could just have a 4 dice range 1 to 3 weapon you could fire out your rear arc whenever you wanted. That's amazing. For 4 SP, giving your ship a rear primary weapon, essentially. The downside is it's Vulcan only. The old one wasn't Vulcan only. But you know what? That's fine. It's fine. I mean, who would want to put that on another ship anyway, unless you had, like, a you don't pay a faction penalty on it. Because then it would become a 2 SP weapon. And the appeal of Aft Particle Beam, the original one, was that it was 1 SP. But, you know what? This has enough improvements to it to justify it being 2 SP. In fact, somebody pointed out that it's kind of funny, because the only ship this can go on, the only Vulcan ships these can go on, is the Dakirs and the Siraks. And so it's a stronger weapon facing backwards than their forward weapon. Alright, so this is a good card that I would run. So that is a 4 out of 7. Okay, moving on. We've got Photonic Autocannon. This is apparently a really good card according to some people. 1 per ship. Vulcan, forward, rear, 5 attack dice, range 2 to 3. 3 SP. That's nice. Only 3 SP. Oh, actually, reference. The Aft Particle Beam, not as good as Fed for torpedoes for 2 SP. But less restrictions in order to fire it. So that's actually pretty good, because with Fed torpedoes, in order to make the best of them, you need battle stations and a target lock. This, you don't need squat in order to fire it. So yeah, no, actually, it's fairly priced at 2 SP, even compared to Fed torpedoes. Moving on, autocannon, attack. If this ship has a scan token beside it, place 3 time tokens on this card and target an opposing ship. Convert all battle stations to hits. I feel like this is their version of the photon torpedoes. This is the Vulcans' sort of version of Fed torpedoes. It costs a bit more, but again, it's not a disable. You don't... Why didn't this flip? There we go. Okay. It's not a... Is there a better quality photo? Just gonna check. No. Okay. Um, it's not a. You don't need a target lock. All you need is a scan token, and as this pack has shown, scan tokens are going to be easy to get. So yeah, this is going to be. I think this is going to be a great card, and I'll play it if I'm playing Vulcans. So that's a 6. Moving on to Catrick Arc. When a Vulcan crew upgrade equipped to this ship is discarded, place that Vulcan crew upgrade beneath this card. Vulcan only, tech, 2 points. Action, remove this card from play. Equip one, discarded Vulcan upgrade that was beneath this card back to the ship and discard all the others. So this pairs very nicely with Chala. Pair him with Chala. It's a very nice fit, I'd say. I'd say it's a good card and I'll play it. That's a 4. Reminds me of some of the upgrades that came with the Soong, actually. There's a lot of discard upgrades. Ooh. Combat Vessel Variant. This is a new Combat Vessel Variant. It only works on the 2 normal Vulcan ships. It's 2 SP. And it increases your primary weapon by 1. Ooh! Ooh! Remember I talked about boosting the primary weapon on the... Where was it? The Vashar. Oh, I need to actually... I forgot to flip the... Again, I'm getting used to doing these reviews live. There we go. Oh, tell me this is a better picture. There isn't. Okay. You may... it's exclusive. You can't put it with the Science Vessel variant. So I'm going to look now into my old cards, because I had a similar upgrade, which I loved, because it reminded me of the resource called Flagship. Here we go. The old Combat Vessel variant gave you +1 attack die, and a +1 hull, and a tech upgrade for 5 points. This is 2 points, and you only get the +1 weapon. Okay, so here's the thing. I strongly get the feeling that Attack Wing does not want to repeat the mistake of the Lakota and the Hood, because the Lakota and the Hood came with a 2-point upgrade which increases your primary weapon value by 1. Their restriction on it was you can't put it on a ship with a primary weapon of 4 or greater, and that restriction was not good enough. It became an amazing card everybody wanted, and drove the price of those packs through the roof. Since then, we've seen other cards which boost it at range 3, and only are good on Klingon ships, and are worth 3 points or whatever. Or we've got the one in the Alliance pack, which boosts your attack dice at range 2 for 3 SP. They haven't released one at range that is a 2 SP. This is the first sort of one that's a 2 SP +1 to your attack dice. And they make up for it by making it 1 per ship, and they make it so it only works on these 2 ships, which frankly are not played very often. That is okay. This is a good card, and I would definitely play it. Is it as good as the old Combat Vessel variant? No! But I can still run the 2 vessel variants together. Because I have a Sirach class ship, you know? I can put it on that. Alright. Now we got the Science Vessel variant. Oh! Was there an old Science Vessel variant? I don't see one. Okay. Same restrictions. This time it's 4 SP. It gives you a boost to your hull and your agility. Sure, same thing. Good card. I'll play it. 4. Now we've got... Oh, I forgot to change the picture again. There, now you know what it looks like. Yay. Onto the Stone of Gaul. Remember from before? Stone of... Wow, that's blurry. Ah, that's much better. 3 SP. Oh wow, that's a lot. If you put it on a ship that is not Vulcan, it costs an additional 5 SP. Yikes. Action. This is range 1, 3 SP. Place 3 time tokens on this card and equip and a target crew upgrade on an opposing ship. So it looks like it's another gank or interference card. Roll a number of attack dice equal to the printed cost of the target crew upgrade. If at least one crit is rolled, discard the crew upgrade. Otherwise, place 1 time token. I like this. I'm going to say this is a good card, and I would play it on the Vulcans. Oh! Oh! Oh. Oh. Okay, so T'Pol here lets you equip it and ignore the +5 Vulcan restriction. Oh, that's the real secret to her being useful. She bypasses the +5 point restriction for putting this on another ship. Nice. I get it now. Also, it's versatility because it's a tech and she's a crew. So if your ship has a crew slot, or if your ship has a tech slot, not a crew or something like that, you can get it to fit. Well, I'm liking this. This is a great gank ability, especially because the Federation faction pack has some, and the Dominion faction pack has some pretty nasty crew. You know? Pretty nasty crew. So yeah, no. I'm going to say that this is it a great card? I would say when paired with T'Pol, it's a great card. But as is, I'd say it's a good card. As is. A good card that I'd play. So far. But when you pair the both together, oh wow, they become a great card that I would play. Translinear sensors. Now this feels more Vulcan. Get into that scanning. Science. 3 SP tech. During the roll defense dice step, when attacking, if there is a scan token beside this ship, place 3 time tokens on this card. See, there have been so many scan token abilities in this game right now, just in this pack, that I've already lost track of them all. Pretty wild. Why is my character glitching? Oh, let's do this. Hey, I am looking at you now. Alright, translinear centers. When attacking during the roll defense dice step, if there is a scan token beside the ship, place 3 time tokens on this card. The defending ship may not roll more than 2 defense dice. This is a 7. This is a fantastic card. You want to know why? I build a lot of defense knots. Ships that roll a ludicrous amount of defense dice. This card is great for defeating my builds like that. Like, oh, I'm sorry, you're rolling 9 defense? Nah, you're rolling 2. Have fun. Alright. Graviton telescope. Everybody clap your hands. This is what they used to spy at Black Hole. When attacking during the deal damage step, if there is a scan token beside the ship, disable this card, add +1. Good for finishing moves. You know, this is a good finishing blow card. But frankly, this feels like those really lame Constitution class boost upgrades that were really not that good. Disable to gain +1 sort of thing. This is a disable to gain a guaranteed hit. It's not a convert. It's an okay card. We'll say that. It's an okay card for us. It's an okay card for us. Slim Shady. Ooh, now we're on to the fun part. We're going to be looking at some ambassadors. Ayo. So let's first address the ambassador card itself. Okay. I won't read this whole block of text because I'm tired, and this video is carried on for over an hour, and I was supposed to be sleeping. Basically, each ambassador has two powers, and you pick one ship, and you go, "Hey, ship over there." You get to choose. Are you going to accept negotiations, and both of us will take a penalty? Or are you going to deny negotiations, and you're going to take a penalty, an alternate penalty? It's sort of would you rather, you know? Let's see. That's better. That's a bit clearer. So it's sort of a would you rather. And I love cards like these. Oh, I love cards like these. I was actually looking at one. I think it was called Warrior Spirit. It came with, I think, the Pa. No, I think it came with the Assimilated Burrell. Warrior Spirit, and it had a similar thing where, no, that wasn't it. It was with Pa, with the IKS Pa, and it was the Surrendered as Ordered. I love these cards where it gives the enemy a choice, and both of the options are bad. Because it screws with everyone's perfect plan, you know? I love screwing with the people's perfect plan. Which means I should probably get into the gank cards. But I feel like most older gank cards were way too hard to use. But I love cards like these. I love gambling cards that are actually good. Not things like Live Long and Prosper, which are like bad gambling cards. Anyway, okay. So let's see what Valar's, or let's just say Eloise from Lost. What's her power? Oh wow, you almost need a magnifying glass to read this. Let me open my window so I get some natural light in. Here we go, that's better. Disable, and so if you choose to cooperate and accept negotiations, you disable an upgrade on the opponent's ship and with of 3 SP or less, and also an upgrade of your ship equipped to this ship, basically. Basically, both people have to disable an upgrade of the enemy player's choice, I think. Yeah, okay. And you can only accept negotiations if you have a card to disable. Alright, I'm back. Had to lean my head back so the avatar got messed up. Oh, wow. If they choose not to disable an upgrade, then they must discard an upgrade. That doesn't sound... Okay, so... if they have a super strict combo that needs to trigger at the beginning of battle, right? You know? Then she's useful. Otherwise, I would personally accept, I think, that, restriction. I would accept the negotiations in that case, because it's like, yeah, you know what? It's just a disabled crew. You just, hold off your beginning battle, like take one forward, use your action. But that does give an advantage to the enemy. But then again, they might have to do that too, but maybe they're already used to doing that. Maybe they're disabling a card that's like, they put her on a ship that has one of those, you know, give yourself 2 slots or whatever card. So she does have some use. She isn't great. The main advantage, though, is if you blow up a ship. Sorry, if the ship that was negotiating with the ambassador's ship blows up the ambassador's ship, they automatically fail negotiations. So the idea is I would more so put her on, I would probably put her on, yeah, I would probably put her on a, what is it called? On the ship I really don't want destroyed. And I would target the ship that is most likely to destroy her ship. Here's a kicker, though. These trigger at the start of the game. So here's my question to you, studio audience. If you have a if you have a card on your ship which activates at the start of the game during setup. And you have initiative, can you use that card to disable her and stop her from triggering her negotiations? It only works at the start of the game, right? So if you disable her, you can skip the negotiation step. Alternatively, if she has initiative, can she discard your cards that trigger at setup? Like Romulan Spy, right? What if she makes you discard Romulan Spy, which cloaks your ship at the very beginning of the game? Can she discard a card that triggers at the beginning of the game? I would say that's up to initiative order. But imagine if you had a card like Jennifer Sisko, but it affected crew. Makes you think. I would give her a... I'd give her a 4. She's a good card, and I'll play her. And I'll mainly play her because I like the fact that she's also unlost. And I'm working on a very special build. Which is quite simply, to put it plainly, a build which uses characters that were whose actors were on both Lost and Star Trek. So she's in that build. The Admiral from the Pegasus is in that build, and the Admiral that came with the Scimitars in that build, because that means we have John Locke, Charles Whitmore, and Eloise as characters you can play in Attack Wing. Anyway, moving on, we have Soval, the amazing, the fantastic Soval. He's the more competitive version of the admirals, not admirals, of the ambassadors. 3 points for the rest of the game. So the negotiations accepted is for the rest of the game. If this ship moves within range 1 of the target ship, or the target ship moves within range 1 of this ship, place an auxiliary power token between the ship that moved. That is a penalty I would not want to take, right? I honestly think that he should cost more than Valar. That's not a penalty I want. This penalty does not work as well against high skill captains, but throw this against swarm fleets, right? Throw it against the swarm fleet. They're moving first. Oh wait, no, it doesn't really matter, because you could always just move in afterwards. Anyway, Soval. Negotiations denied. Make an attack against the target ship with 3 attack dice. That attack cannot be modified or rerolled. That's the real nice one, right? It's like you gotta deal with an attack at the beginning of the game, or face getting auxiliary power tokens all the time. So he, in my book, is a great card, and I would definitely play him. In fact, I would play him on, I think, the Gwyn Gwyn, which is a raider, Maquis raider, which automatically dishes out auxiliary power tokens to ships that you attack. So it would give an auxiliary power token at the beginning of the game. Alright, now we're moving on to let's just take a quick look at the movement cards here. Nebula classes, pretty standard Federation. You get those 2 white turns, which is why I really like them. The Constitution classes, they have a 2 reverse. Not sure why it's a 2 as opposed to a 1. That's cool. All in all, pretty standard. The Takirs, however, downside about the Takirs is they have the Excelsior style turns, so they are harder to turn, but they do have that, 360 arc. Finally, there are 2 missions that come with this. The mission cards are printed weird. Instead of flipping them sideways to flip them over, you actually have to flip them over end. And I am unfortunately too tired to read these right now. So, all in all, this pack, what would I give this pack? Would I give this pack a 4? a good pack that I'd play? Would I give it a 6 or a 5? I think I'd give this pack a 7. This is a fantastic pack. Namely because I haven't really been able to talk about it too much, but the synergy potential in this pack is crazy good. And it boosts all those old ships that had, like, get an extra scan token, and you were like, oh wow, an extra scan token, or discard this for an extra scan token, and you're like, oh wow, yeah, great, yippee. Now this pack makes scan tokens. It changes scan tokens. Changes scan tokens. My friend, this pack is amazing for scan tokens. Basically, it's a game changer pack. And I like any positive game changer pack. What do I mean by a positive game changer pack? I mean that it is a pack which changes the game in a positive way, basically. Yeah, that's about it. It's a positive game changing pack. It has a positive impact on the game as a total. Yeah, so this pack, in my eyes, is a 7 out of 7 for being a positive impact on the game. And I think we will end the video here. So, with that, I will say goodbye, everyone, and thank you for joining me